Welcome back to another episode of Power Bourbon, and I have a co-host tonight, which is great.
What, you've been tired of running solo?
Sometimes
It's like you've been like a lost puppy on those introductions. I'm solo again tonight, guys. I'm sorry.
the good news is I'm always right. Nobody talks back, so it's much more streamlined. So
The editing probably is much easier for you because there's really no Brian.
no, yeah, man, it saves me about 45 minutes to an hour. It's amazing. All right. So tonight we are going to review a bottle from Barrell, who sent us a wonderful sample. Thank you very much. And Chuck had already bought his, but he was already talking to us about how great it was, and he didn't want to send it. So I'm glad Barrell is nicer than Chuck and sent a sample. And that is their 12-year-old barrel bourbon finished in French oak casks, and it's a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. Comes in at 108.5 proof. So, what do you know about it since you've got the bottle, sir?
That's what I know. I mean, I'd say the interest. So it's distilled in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Wyoming. I think the interesting piece there is the Wyoming. So Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, no surprise if you're familiar with Barrell Craft spirits and their blends. Those are standards. Wyoming has been a standard in some of their other blends, but particularly the New Year's. Like that's where where they first started to introduce some of that Wyoming. I assume that Wyoming is a wheated.
That would be my guess, yeah.
They don't tell us that for sure, so that's a guess on our part. But that's what intrigued me, a 12-year Wyoming whiskey in here.
Yeah, and then on the TTB site, they just released an image of a new gray label, which is going to be a 13-and-a-half-year-old barrel strength Wyoming only bourbon. And that something tells me that's going to be really, really good. So
we have one Patreon named Ed who will for sure be on that.
Yep. Oh yeah. So, all right. Cheers.
Yeah. As you notice, I was like, whenever it released at, I don't know, 10 or 11 o'clock Central, like I was on it. Yeah. And then I also bought a bottle for my brother because he was in South Korea at the time. And he's like, it's on you. He's like, he was trying to win a world championship, I guess. And so I took pity on him.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Good brother. Brother of the year.
Oh, that's got a nice nose and a very like pungent, in your face, flavorful. It's not hidden. It's right there. It punches you in the nose a little bit.
Pungent, but one of the things I like about French oak, different from American oak, is it comes across as like you can still tell it's like a fresh age. It's not it hasn't been sitting there in years in that cask, but it's like a little bit of a spicier oak finish, less of that bright vanilla, those vanilla notes.
Yeah, I would definitely be like spicy apple pie. Means you got a little bit of fruit.
There's like a little bit
there.
of that creaminess comes through even on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. The baked spices, I'd say, are pretty dominant here.
Yep. A little bit of oak back there, but overall, just really, spicy, a little floral notes and some fruit. I like it.
I like it. I like that it's complex. Each time you go back, it's slightly different waves of those flavors.
Okay. So on the first sip, it's a little watery. I would have expected more for 108, not quite super viscous that I was expecting, but that it's a lighter note. So a lot of honeys and graham cracker notes kind of come in. And then I was going to say there wasn't much of a finish. And then as I'm talking, the finish is building and it's coming in as all those baking spices, but then a lot of drying oak tannin notes, almost like a red wine type finish, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and at 108 proof, I'm not going to say it drinks hot, but it's those, I think it's like it's really those spices are just like lingering on the tip of your tongue, less so of like some of that coating feel, but then like the finish is lasting in the rest of the palate. But it's like, yeah, the baking spices initially just kind of hit me and rest on that tongue. Um, and then the drying oak lingers with like a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of those tingling spices, a little bit of that tingling oak, baking spices, nutmeg.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's interesting. I haven't had a bourbon like this for a long time, which is like, I don't know. It's not that maple syrupy, viscous coat your mouth. It's definitely hitting the flavor profile, the palate, in very specific points. Definitely get it on the side of the tongue a whole bunch with the spices, and then a little bit on the front of the tongue. But then it's weird. It's not like down the jawline or anything like that. But I would argue this has a longer finish than a lot of other bourbons we've had lately. And it literally just stays right on the sides of your tongue and just is going and going and going.
that's an interesting, yeah, because sometimes, that the ethanol gives you that Kentucky hug, which I don't get on this at all.
No.
It's really just that warming sensation on the tongue and a little bit in the mouth. It's an interesting. I also like the oak. It's not a knob 15 or 18 aged musty oak. But it's again different than like a toasted American oak. And and I think some of that's giving you that lasting finish. Definitely because you picked up on it, maybe a little bit of that drying, tannic oak part. I'm really enjoying that piece of the oak, and that it's different.
Yeah.
Are we getting more of the finishing barrel? And we don't get barrel. If you're watching, send us the unblend or the unfinished whiskey sample as well, so we could taste it and then taste how the finished affected that.
Yeah.
But are we getting more of the finished product on this than some of the other barrels? Because one of the things that we have given barrel acclimates for in the past is letting the bourbon shine through amidst the finish in a nice blend. Or do you think it's a proper blend?
For the first time, I think the finishing barrel is what is taking the forefront. But like a French oak cask, I'm okay with in that sense. Like if it was the Ambarana, then like it's gonna like just kill everything else. You still get bourbon notes, but yes, I think it's all those spices and all those type of notes that we're getting, and maybe even a little bit of the like leathery oak stuff at the finish is definitely coming from the barrel. But then I guess, can we make the argument that everyone argues most the flavor of any bourbon comes from the barrels? So like it's just a special type of barrel.
Good point. And it's still an oak barrel. So at that. So yes, you bring up good points. And without being able to taste the bourbon, I mean we are dealing with aged good we assume good whiskey. Barrel stocks previously haven't let us down. I'm like, of course, at 12 years, you don't expect some of the youngness or any type of hay notes, but it's like all that is very absent. It's a 12-year drinking like a 17 or 18 year to me. And again, that proof point at 108, I think is like hitting that mark along with those spices of the French oak. And that finish just lasts forever. It's one this is a great sipper, a good fall release barrel. Nice job.
Oh yeah.
Gives you some nice warm apple cider notes to keep us warm in the fall, even though hasn't been a fall. It's been like 90 degrees lately, but I'm ready for fall. So maybe this is beckoning fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like once again, like everything we've talked about, people overlook barrel all the time. If you want a special bottle that is, you know, going to drink way over any of the specs that you think you're paying for. I mean, we haven't really gone wrong with Barrell. 12 years, you can't go wrong with that. 108 proof, you can't go wrong with that. And then adding the French oak casks on that gives you an interesting flavor profile that somebody may not have tried before or anything like that. So I think if you're looking for, you know, a special bottle, something like that, I think this is one that's easily worth the pickup and everything like that.
I think actually at 100 and what was this 160, I think retail. I think there it makes you question. Well, I didn't question. I saw a 12-year French oak from Barrell, and I was just like, "Yep, I'm gonna buy." So I guess that tells you my decision. And I gave you guys my review immediately, in the chats, and I told you that I loved it and was not disappointed. So that's my stance. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think if you're on a bit more of a budget, just go Barrel Batch 37. You're going to be happy. If you can find one of their Mizunara finishes, also would be very happy. I haven't tasted the Mizunara in this 12-year side by side yet. That's going to be next. But personally, I really enjoy this 12-year. I think it's quite interesting. And one of the things that Barrell does, and I don't think this is overpowering. We've said this has ratcheted up maybe some of the flavor notes of that finish, but I don't think it's overpowering in a way. It's still true to the bourbon, but still allows you to taste what a French oak finish is or can be or should be. And for that, I'm a fan. So.
Yep. Yeah. And all I got to say is that finish is just still going. And I think you hit like the nail on the head. This is the fall bourbon of the year, because I can't think of anything more fall than just like sitting outside by a campfire. It's almost I know it's an expensive bottle, but part of me just kind of wants to put it with some apple cider. I think that's going to be absolutely amazing. So I think you got
I'll let my wife drink the apple cider and I'll drink this.
There you go. I think you got your fall bourbon in a glass right here. And yep. Once again, Barrell, thanks for sending us a sample. You're doing amazing stuff. If you don't have a Barrell product on your shelf, go check it out. Get a batch. Batch 37 is amazing. There's so much out there. With that, cheers. See you next time.
Stay neat.